Alright, also look, welcome back to the channel, and in today's video, we're going to be going over Mr. Best Mully in the UFC, Diego Lopes, as well as his spectacular win over Brian Ortega last weekend at UFC 306, and what this could possibly mean for the future of his career moving forward. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share so you can help me reach 1,500 subscribers by May. I'll deeply appreciate you. And make sure you join the official UFC Discord, link in the description. Alright, so look, guess who called it? I did. Last Saturday night at UFC 306, we saw the at the time 13th ranked featherweight of the world, Diego Lopes, go up against the at the time 3rd ranked featherweight of the world, Brian Ortega, and beat him by unanimous decision, ultimately shooting him up the ranks, and he is now a top 3 ranked featherweight of the world. But let's delve a little deeper into the fight itself. In the first round, we saw Diego Lopes come out aggressive, and there was a moment in there where it kind of looked like the fight was going to be over right then and there, when Diego Lopes sniped Brian Ortega with the perfect overhand right, which quite literally knocked Brian Ortega out for a split second. Like, I'm talking about a flash KO. But what's even crazier is that Diego Lopes immediately followed it up with a check hook that essentially woke Brian Ortega up. It was quite literally one of the most insane sequences that I've seen in a little bit. After that, both Lopes and Ortega were scrambling on the ground for a little bit, but the thing is, they're both elite BJJ black belts, so despite the scramble, nothing really major happened on the ground. Then in rounds 2 and 3, Diego Lopes started to take over. He quite literally outworked Brian Ortega, plain and simple. He was more active, landed the cleaner and more effective shots, and showed excellent takedown defense. Ortega, on the other hand, tried to bring the fight to the ground, but Diego Lopes stuffed all of the takedown attempts, and, it kind of showed how well-rounded his game has become. He even nearly finished Brian Ortega again in the 3rd round. The only downside I really noticed about Diego Lopes' game was that he kind of seemed to slow down noticeably after the 1st round. It, looked like his cardio took a bit of a hit, and it was crystal clear as the fight went on, but honestly, that's really something that can be easily fixed with better conditioning and cardio work, and it's not really that much of a major flaw, just something to be tweaked on going forward. But ultimately, this was a massive win for Diego Lopes, both in terms of his career trajectory as well as his confidence, because now he's a top contender in the featherweight division, and people are finally starting to recognize his full potential like I did a long time back. And he's come a long way from the underrated fighter that I was supporting since the early days of his career. He delivered on everything I expected of him in my breakdown video leading up to this fight, and it's really just super satisfying to see someone that you've backed rise up to the occasion like this. And if he can continue to develop the way that he's doing right now, I'm confident that he'll be challenging for the featherweight title very, very soon. But now, there is one big obstacle standing in his way, and that's Ilia El Matador Topuria. Look, I genuinely believe that Ilia Topuria is the best fighter in the UFC right now, and he's on the track to becoming the next greatest of all time of the featherweight division. But if Ilia weren't in the same division as Lopes, then I'd be betting all my money on Diego Lopes becoming the next champion of the featherweight division. That being said though, a fight between Diego Lopes and Ilia El Matador would be absolute fireworks. Lopes' KO power combined with his elite ground game, it makes him one of the few fighters in the featherweight division that could theoretically give El Matador some serious problems. But don't get me wrong, it's not an easy fight for either guy, but it's that type of matchup that would go down as an instant classic once it happens in the very near future. As for what's next for Diego Lopes, I think the best move would be for him to fight the winner of the upcoming bout between Aljo and Movsar Evloev. I honestly think that this fight makes the most sense for Diego Lopes, as Aljo as well as Evloev are highly ranked and would provide him with the most legitimate test in the featherweight division. Now, I haven't made an early prediction for the Aljo versus Evloev fight yet, but if I had to choose, I'd be leaning more toward Movsar Evloev probably getting the job done, and if that happens, a fight between Lopes and that daggy rat would make for a fantastic rematch. However, there are a bit of some timing issues to consider. Like, right now it looks like Alexander Volkanovski is next in line to face the winner of Ilia Topuria versus Max Holloway. So if Lopes, as well as the winner of Sterling versus Evloev, want to wait for their title shot, then it can take some time. And we all know that the problem with waiting is that fighters could potentially lose a bunch of momentum as well as hype, and they also risk getting rusty by sitting on the sidelines for way too long. I think that the smarter move would be for Diego Lopes and the winner of Aljo versus Evloev is to fight each other in a title eliminator. So not only does that keep both fighters active, but it also builds up even more hype for the winner's eventual title shot. Now, let's talk about why this rematch is so exciting. If you don't remember, Diego Lopes made his UFC debut on short notice against Movsar Evloev, and despite the circumstances, he took him all the way to a unanimous decision. And that fight is what put Diego Lopes on the map for me, as well as a lot of other people in the MMA community. And so a rematch between these two in a high-stakes title eliminator bout would be absolutely insane, and the winner would be in a prime position to fight Ilia El Matador after he takes care of Max Holloway and flatlines Volkanovski for a second time. Overall, I believe that Diego Lopes is going to be a huge star in the featherweight division. Unfortunately though, I do see him playing a role similar to what Max Holloway did during Alexander Volkanovski's era. He'll be that one elite fighter who is capable of being champion, but will ultimately be held back by that one guy sitting on the throne. In this case, Ilia El Matador Topuria, and I honestly just don't see anyone in the featherweight division beating El Matador right now. But that being said, if anyone could give him a run for his money, it's Diego Lopes. I think with his elite ground game, not to mention his KO power, he's one of, if not the only guy in the featherweight division who can potentially cause some problems to El Matador. But of course, we'll have to see how things play out, especially with Ilia's upcoming fight against Max Holloway. Either way though, Diego Lopes has proven that he belongs at the top of the featherweight division, and I am super excited to see where his career goes from here. But that's all I've got to say for this video. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys think of Diego Lopes' performance against Brian Ortega last weekend, and do you think he's going to be potential competition for Ilia El Matador moving forward? Let me know in the comment section below. But that about wraps up the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.